Today what was going on is that the county had the choice whether to move forward with building 2 new jails or with moving away from that and investing in community and building facilities and centers that we desperately need.
This has been a battle that community has been waging for over 7 years, for nearly a decade, and today we were successful in stopping these 2 jails.
The Mira Loma plan is dead, which was a jail that was going to be specifically for women over 50 miles away from City Central, dead. And the second one is CCTF, which is a mental health jail that they had proposed. And so it's this historical day because we've stopped both the jail plans. Although we're going to get a mental health treatment facility, we're still going to be here to hold them accountable to ensure that it doesn't become a cage for people with mental health needs.
The battle is now shifting to the size and scope of a mental health facility. We are opposed to a large facility here in LA County to replace Men's Central Jail, but that's a different battle that we are going to keep waging with the county. We're going to push for community-based mental health treatment, not a centralized facility.
I feel that the words incarceration and holistic is an oxymoron. I believe if they build another facility, we will just have the same problems that we continue to have in these type of facilities because it's still incarceration, jail, detention center by another name.
We do have supportive services with ARC. In our mental health department, we have counseling one-on-one with individuals. And we also have a partnership with USC where they are interns.
I mean, we've seen over decades of incarceration that that's not the answer and that there always seems to be problems with inhumane treatment, degradation, dehumanization, the abuse scandals, everything that goes on in these facilities. So I would hope to see community-based solutions, community care, not cages, and real holistic treatment and healing.
We know that care is best administered in the community, not in a jail setting. In fact, jails only perpetuate trauma, only increase the effects of mental health disease and mental health conditions.
The family separation, the anxiety, the trauma that you don't even realize at that time that it's trauma. You don't realize that it's because of the incarceration. And so just the silent suffering that goes on because you feel like you're all alone going through this. You feel you feel different or less than because everybody else is in, the regular household that you're used to seeing like on TV and everything, and you know that you don't fit in that family when you're going to visit, your dad in prison or your mom in prison as a child, growing up and still being subjected to the same rules. I mean, no matter if you're a child, the officers are still going to tell you you're wearing the wrong colored pants. So as a 5-year-old having to get dragged out and having to change your clothes and not even understanding what is going on. So it's these types of trauma that stay with you, and this kind of thing that causes a lot of anxiety and suffering in families that people don't stop to realize.
And so being able to divert treatment into the community and away from incarceration is what we've been advocating for.
There just needs to be more free health care across the board for everybody, not just because you're $10 or $100 over the limit for services, also to a child care services, but just supporting more community-based organizations throughout because they're localized, they're within your community, and it's not like I have to drive 100 miles to go get services and then it discourages me from getting services because it's so far or it's only one place, and when it's one place then it's a lot of people going to that same service. So it's spread out evenly and then you can get that more one-on-one service.
Many of us have overcome extraordinary odds to thrive, and that's why we believe we should be at the table for any conversations on how best to support people who have survived the system. And the female and LGBTQ members of ARC would welcome any opportunity to participate in this important first step in lifting up women and LGBTQ folks returning to LA County.
I was raised in a home with my father being incarcerated and then I myself incarcerated, and so it's very personal to me.
I'm formerly incarcerated. I did federal time, but before then I worked in the healthcare field and I can no longer do that, so there's barriers on that. There's so many different barriers that a lot, especially women in reentry, come in. I was a self-surrender. My daughter was a year old. Coming home and going into I guess they would call it a halfway house, was another 6 months out here on the streets, but also to being restricted to see my daughter at times. So those were my major challenges, and also too, upon my reentry, my husband was sadly murdered. So having no support system at the time, ARC wasn't around. There were very limited reentry services, and doing it all on our own is basically what a lot of us women do.
I'm a person that's been impacted by incarceration. I had a parent that's been in jails, in prisons, and deportation centers. And growing up as a child of someone that's incarcerated, I know that it affects families. It keeps families from getting the resources that they need. When we're investing billions into jails and not into communities, that affects the livelihoods of families and their ability to prosper in this county.
I'm a system impacted person. I spent a lot of time very far from here, and I re-entered about 8 years ago, and I've been in re-entry circles and helping women and girls come home from the system for about 8 years now.
Today was a very successful day. The journey continues, the fight will continue, but today we can claim this victory for our communities.
Thanks for watching StreetTV.net. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button below and click the bell to receive alerts and notifications. Feel free to comment below so you can give us your feedback, and be sure to watch the 2 related episodes to the right. If you want to support this platform or follow us on social media, visit the links in the description. And thanks for watching StreetTV.net.